pulling the engine and transmission. A little bit of a late start today. Slept in some. But
it's Saturday. Leave us alone. I'm trying to get the headers off.
Well.
And everything is in the way.
Making some progress here.
Other than getting the running engine in the truck, one of the things we're looking forward to is getting a clean engine in the truck. Make working on all this a lot easier, because this is foul.
Working on the Porsche is so much nicer. You forget working on the Porsche just how much it spoils you. Doing anything on it, spark plugs, headers.
Because everything's clean, nothing's covered in 20 years of grime and rust. But we're getting there. We're getting closer and closer to getting this motor out. And then we can kind of keep working on our plan to see what we're going to do to get a motor back in this thing.
Yeah. So not going to talk about it right now, but there's some drama, some complications.
It wasn't, nobody was being malicious. Nobody intentionally sold us a bad motor or anything, but we're still waiting to see whether we're going to be trying to save this block to put it back in, or if it's going to get a whole different motor. We don't know yet. All we know is this needs to come out.
We are getting somewhere. We're also taking out stuff that's never going back in, for the most part.
For the entire AC system, the oil cooler, transmission cooler. We're not going to put the oil cooler back in. It's just not necessary. We're going to do our own transmission cooler. We're going to do a better one. That was by far the most awkward engine pull I've ever done.
So we realized something after we started.
We didn't drain the transmission.
Well, no, we did drain the transmission. It's all right there.
But it's out. We did it.
Yeah. Got her out.
Strip this engine down to the block. See if the block is savable. We're not sure if it is or not. We're hoping. We'll see.
I guess this doesn't actually do anything now. Let's look at lake trans fluid.
That 13 volt wrench I dropped. And a bolt. I wonder what that's for.
Well, we're going to be using a lot of that kitty litter.
Yeah.
So, we need to get the transmission off, but the thing is, because the engine's locked up completely, we can't turn it to get to the bolts on the torque converter. So basically we need to pull the transmission out of the torque converter.
Here we go. Ooh, cool piece. It just fell out. Focus. There you go. Small end of the rod on its pin. Oh. we got a box. And you see, this is from Texas Speed. Called them up not long ago. Told them exactly what we had going on. And we put together a box of goodies. Ooh. So what we've got here, a sticker, obviously, most important. We've got new Lifter Valley trays. We've got a whole set of new lifters. Gaskets. A lanyard. Ooh, I might use this. I like that lanyard. So, crankshaft, or crank pulley bolt. Crank pulley bolt. There we go. Valve seals. Timing set. Another sticker.
So one for the bus and one for the truck.
Yes. This is our oil pickup O-rings. More valve seals. Another crank pulley bolt. Okay.
What the fuck all did we order here?
These are bolts, probably rod cap bolts or something similar. Yeah, these are either rod cap or crank bolts, one or the other.
Lots of bolts.
This should be, yep, push rods. All new push rods. This is, yes, the trunnion kit for Texas Speeds. Capture trunnions. This is, there's our upgraded Beehive valve springs. Not sure what's in this one. So,
Mystery box.
head gaskets.
Put those somewhere.
More gaskets. That's the front timing car gasket. More gasket. More gaskets.
All the gaskets.
Yes, we got
Almost like we got everything we need to rebuild the engine and maybe a few
more gaskets and more gaskets and more gaskets and more gaskets. And then the special one. The cam.
If you recall, this one, no good.
Yes. So we
It's
got
also stuck.
we got a new cam. Come in close right there. Chopacabra. Yeah. So pretty meaty cam. It's designed to give maximum chop, not necessarily maximum performance. And we're okay with that. Let's see what's in this box. Oil pump. A lot of good things for this motor. Should help.
Not
it.
that motor. Maybe not that motor.
We're not sure yet.
We don't know.
We have. So that block, if you watched our previous video, is the block that came out of the truck, the one that exploded. Might or might not be completely finished. We're not sure yet. We have another block that is at the machine shop right now, and we are waiting to hear back on whether or not that block is screwed. That other block turns out spun a cam bearing. Ooh. Yeah, here's our upgraded lifter trunnions. So we don't have any here handy, but the stock lifters, these can pull out basically, and what happens is it'll send needle bearings all through your motor. These have little C-clips that clip on right here that will prevent these from coming apart. A little bit of upgrades as we go. Most of this stuff is just replacement stuff that'll hopefully be more reliable. This is the one performance upgrade we're doing at the moment.
Oh. We are welding up our diff. Back here there should be all the bits that make it a positive traction or limited slip. It doesn't have them anymore because some of them are broken up underneath the truck right now.
These are the pieces of what used to be our locker. As you can see, it's no longer locking. Yeah. So we are going to fix that. Alright, it's been a little bit since we posted. In our last video, we tore apart the motor out of Hot Garbage here and showed you all that fun carnage. So the reason it's been a little bit since we posted is because we've been having a really hard time getting a replacement motor. We wanted to get another 6.0. And for whatever reason, the LQ4 is getting a little bit harder to find than it used to be. But let me tell you the full story. So we get back, we tear that motor apart, and we thought that block was junk. I mean, you saw all the chunks that were missing out of it. We just thought that was bad. We didn't figure that was repairable. So I got on Facebook Marketplace, and I found another guy selling a 6.0 LQ4. Bought that, brought it back here to the garage, stripped it down to the block, and we were going to put new cam bearings in it, all that fun stuff, get it cleaned up. We take it apart and realize that one of the cam bearings had spun really, really badly. And the machine shop said it just wasn't really worth it to try to repair to that block. So I went back to that guy I bought that motor from and I let him know this, and he said, "Oh, I thought that motor was good, that's my bad." And he actually offered to replace it for us, no charge. He said, I sold you a motor that was bad, that was on me, I'll get you a new one. So he starts that process, but he's having a hard time finding another good 6.0 LQ4. And so in the meantime, we took the bad block out of Hot Garbage and took it to a different machine shop, and this guy looks at it and says, yeah, you can sleeve that, no big deal. Which blew our minds, because neither of us have ever actually had an engine sleeve before. It's just never come up. And so we dropped that engine off with him. So now we're waiting on the one guy to find us a replacement engine, or the machine shop to finish the sleeve in the original engine. Both of which end up taking, give or take, 3 weeks. A lot longer than we thought it would. So at that point, we're nearly a month without a motor. And we did a little bit of work on the truck, just a little things that we could do. Ordered a whole bunch of parts from Texas Speed for the engine rebuild, and they're all here. So we're waiting on a block. So the machine shop finally calls, says the sleeves and the block's done. I say, great, we go pick it up, bring it back here. And not half an hour after we get back, we looked at it and we realized the sleeve that he just installed had a massive crack in it. And that was on a Saturday. He wasn't open again until Monday. So we took that engine back to the machine shop, dropped it off. And he's going to put a replacement sleeve in it, no charge. Once again, he says, that's on me, my bad. So he says, yeah, I'll take it back and put a new sleeve in it. That's on me. So now we're also waiting on the machine shop to fix what was supposed to be a good fix for this. So fortunately, the next day, the guy off Facebook Marketplace calls us up and says, hey, I got you a good 6.0 block. Come over tomorrow. So that was yesterday. We have a motor. After, I think, all said and done, I think it's been almost 2 months. We've been trying to get a good replacement motor. We really wanted to stick with the 6.0, just the bigger motor with a little more power. Not that it's a huge deal, but we just didn't want to go down to a 5.3. We didn't want to take a step back. And we are definitely realizing now that we handicapped ourselves with that. If we could go back in time 2 months, yeah, I probably would just get a 5.3 because you can find them for a lot cheaper than the 6.0s. You can find them a lot more easily. But regardless, we do finally have a 6.0. I know it looks a little bit grungy, but this is actually a fairly new remanned engine. They put it in a truck, and then just a few thousand miles later, they crashed the truck. This is the motor. So it's got 20,000 overbore, all new bearings, all the good stuff. But other than that, it's stock. I got a whole big old pile of Texas Speed parts over there. Basically, the only thing we're going to be reusing out of this is the crankshaft, the pistons, and the heads. But the heads are getting all new springs and lifters. We are using the old valves. Calm down. I don't care. We could finally start working on that. Here's a little tip for you guys. If you ever see this style of valve spring compressor, don't get it. This was really cheap, but it kind of sucks to use. It works, it's just really hard on your hands. Just get the big lever style. That's so much better. stock cam out. Just got the stock cam out. And I just gave it a little look in. Something that bit us on the last motor was the cam bearings. I didn't realize this, but apparently LSs are prone to spinning cam bearings. Looking in here, I was promised a fresh reman block. It looks like we got one. We're good to go. Okay, so y'all just saw me pull the stock cam out. Well, that's why. So we got new cam, lifters, rods, even got new lifter trays, even though I don't think that's strictly necessary. JP Performance timing gear set. So let's go on to the thing that y'all really care about, this cam. Yes, and there it is, still in its wrapper. So this is the Texas Speed and Performance Chopacabra cam. As far as I can tell, it's about one of the more aggressive cams you can get without having to do like modification to the heads. All we had to do was replace the valve springs. Now, because I know people are going to ask, because you don't want to go to Texas Speed's websites, the stats. Yeah, so valve lift 550, duration 267, duration 214, 275, 222, 108 separation angle. I know what these mean, but you know, the numbers kind of don't mean much to me other than like the lift. You know, that's how far it opens the valve. The duration is how long it's holding the valve open, I guess. Lobe separation, that's how far apart the top of the lobes are. But I don't really know what all this means, so that's why I pay people like Texas Speed to develop the good cams. I just called them up. I sat on the phone for him for about an hour just chatting to this guy, telling him exactly what we were doing, what we were trying to do. And he set us up with all the parts that we needed. So big shout out to Texas Speed. Most of y'all have probably heard of them by now. They're kind of everywhere, and there's a good reason for it. They do excellent stuff, great prices, stuff like these cams. They understand not everything has to be all about the most high performance cam. Sometimes you just want to have fun. This cam doesn't have the highest performance available for like stock heads on an LS. It's meant to be choppy, and you can go look it up on YouTube and maybe hear this thing here in a little while. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep hacking away at this old thing. You can see here we already painted the block too. It's got to, you know, why not? That's what we do, is we paint things. So I'm going to keep on putting stuff together. For anybody that's curious, if you don't know what I'm doing, this is just some assembly lube. All this really does is makes it a little easier to install for some parts, but the important thing is it gives it a bit of lubrication on that very first startup before the motor builds oil pressure. Just making sure you don't have these bare metal surfaces rubbing together for that few seconds.
So we're pretty sure we're ready to put the engine back in. This is now not the original block. This is a 6.0 that's been bored out 20 over, he said?
Yeah, this one was done, this is a reman, it was done 20 over, new pistons, new all the good bits, and then we put in the Texas Speed cam, new lifters, new most things. Most of that, don't let it deceive you. It looks like crap, but most of what's inside is new.
Yeah, we did somewhat intentionally paint it to look ugly, because, I don't know, it's just kind of our style.
And then we did nothing to the transmission.
Yeah, no, I mean, nothing as in, we didn't even clean the outside of it. There's still some, that's still some old gum.
That's the original gunk.
So yeah, going into this, we're confident in the engine. We're confident in the driver. We're confident in most of the truck holding up and not like literally falling apart. Transmission, that's the big question mark. We honestly have no idea whether it's going to survive or not.
Yeah, we don't know if it was ever rebuilt, so there's a very good chance that's the original, 250,000-mile transmission that came out of the truck.
But anyways, we're going to get ready to get that thing slapped in here. Hopefully today, get it bolted in place, then tomorrow come out, plumb it, wire it. I have to do a couple more custom things. For one, because move the battery, or the computer to where the battery was. I'm going to move the battery to this side, so I need to do that. Then we have a new radiator with electric fans. That's going to have to get mounted. We have a separate transmission cooler because apparently heat is the biggest problem with those, so hopefully it can survive for 2 minutes. But we will see. Alrighty, so in the work truck, this glorious little machine.
I don't know, this truck hasn't really been on the channel before.
I don't think we've talked about this actually.
So this is a 91 S10 that I bought last fall, that then developed a massive oil leak and didn't get driven for a few months. And I realized it was the oil pressure sensor. Replaced it. Now this is our little run around shop truck.
Anyways, made good progress on the truck today. Got the engine in, got about 90% of it hooked up. What's left now is largely the, sort of custom work, like the radiator that we're putting in. Then we have a separate transcooler. We're using an analog oil pressure sensor. There's like 100 little tiny things that each go pretty quick, but together it's gonna take a minute to get it all done. Okay, so we think we found the problem. We found a ground on the wiring harness that wasn't grounded. So we disconnected the battery, let everything sit after clearing the codes. We'll just see if maybe it was just some sort of like glitch.
Alright, ready?
Yeah. One of the codes we're getting here is getting for, see that, MAF. Then he goes and unplugs the MAF, tells me to try starting it, and it just started, and as soon as he plugged the MAF back in, it shut off.
Try it again, do it again.
It's unplugged right now?
Yeah.
Alright. It ran better with that unplugged than it did earlier with it plugged in. One good rev for the viewers. Oh! Some stuff is still wrong, but it does start. It does run. It drove. It wouldn't shift. But this is progress. We have made progress, and that's something. Jeez, driving this thing sucks. Ah, what a piece of shit.
Well, it's another lovely morning. We actually have some good weather, which is good because we're on our way to go pick up a transmission for the hot garbage, because on the dyno yesterday it killed the transmission. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
It just sucks to be happening this close to us actually, you know, heading out to Florida. It is Saturday right now, and we got to be heading out of here on Thursday.
Maxed out the injectors and went way over that, so we have some of those that should be getting here on Tuesday. The shop that it's getting a tune at, those guys are super cool. It's Millennium Racing Development, or MRD, in Portsmouth, Virginia. They're going to let us try to get back in there on Wednesday if we get our injectors in on Tuesday. Try to get an actual real tune in it this time. We have some, what'd you get, 36 or 42?
44 pound.
44 pound injectors on the way, so that should be more than enough of what we're doing. So anyway, we're just on the road
In this glorious machine of ours.
We found a guy on Facebook Marketplace selling a 4L60, so he came over here. Turns out the dude has a really cool shop, and he had a whole set of injectors. So we got the transmission and injectors now, so we can go home and start getting this thing back together. All we got to do is find the adapters for the injectors. So now we can actually go home and start getting this thing all back together.
Beautiful.
Stop that. One extremely dead transmission.
Okay, so we are now on day 2 of this emergency rebuild. Yesterday, managed to get the transmission out. We did not drain all the fluid, as per usual. But yeah, we are here. It is a crap day. See, it's actually raining a little right now, and it's predicted to keep raining for the next couple hours, but rather deal with a little bit of rain than working in the dark, so see, he's already busy at it. New transmission is up in there. Just gotta get her all lined up, which anyone who's worked on transmissions before knows that is the really fun part. But we are getting it done. Got pigtails for the injectors that should be getting delivered today. If not, I already found out that the Porsche's injectors actually use the same plug, so in an emergency I could just cut them off the Porsche, put them on here, and then when the when the other ones come in, put those back on Porsche. Wouldn't be ideal, but gotta do what you gotta do.
Okay, so we totally forgot to record anything talking about this, but the day after I put the transmission in, took it back to the dyno. Later that afternoon, the dyno shop called and said the truck had developed a massive oil leak and it still wouldn't engage second gear.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing that happened to the sensor on the Porsche.
Yeah.
It busted through and just let the oil shoot straight up.
First pull was 285. We're up to 340 or 350.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, basically we were gonna throw a couple more degrees at it, but I mean, we were literally within like 2 pulls from being done.
Which we're okay with some amount of fire hazard, but okay.
They're either going to be blue and red when they're plugged in, or once you unplug them, you'll see that there's a plastic interlock.
Well, just pulled the pan off. Looks like we're hosed. Yep. You should never, ever, ever, ever want to see stuff like this in your transmission pan. Should be clean. That's telling me that 2.4 band is gone. And if you want a comparison for how this looks, if you don't stop it when it looks like this is the pan off the first transmission. The one that blew up on the dyno. This is how bad it eventually gets. You've got chunks. This is thick. It feels like mud. So that's what happens when the trans is just dead. And that's this one right here. This is the one that's on the truck. We can't do burnouts like that. So yeah, we were planning on going down to the burnout contest this weekend. And we would have to be leaving tomorrow. And we're not going to make it. This kind of kills it for us. I'm sure this video is going to be quite lengthy, because even though we've been recording, haven't been editing it together as we go. So now I've got probably the past 2 weeks worth of footage on it. This video does not end in victory. This video ends in defeat. If you've enjoyed what you've been seeing of us struggling and eventually failing, you can subscribe. We'll have more videos. We've got a rough plan of where we might move forward of this over the next few months. Because now, before anything else that I think we'll want to take the truck to, we've got some time. So we might actually spend the time and money and actually build up this transmission, which this is the one that came in the truck. This one blew up on the dyno about a week ago. Then we got that one off Facebook Marketplace. And that one came pre-dead, apparently. So if you want to see what happens to this truck in the future, please subscribe. You'll see some cool stuff. I don't think you'll be seeing this truck in the next video. We have another project that we've been waiting on because we've been working on this. We've got something else that's really, really cool that we're really excited to get started on. That's probably what's going to be next. I'm not going to swear to it. We might change our mind. But yeah, so subscribe to us here. Follow us on Instagram. We post on Instagram a lot more than we post here. We'll just take quick pictures of whatever little silly stuff we might be doing, or sometimes just memes, goofy stuff, whatever. We try to post on there as often as possible. And then on here, yeah, hopefully you'll see some more videos coming up soon. I can't give a timeline to it. I don't know exactly how long some of this stuff might take to do or even get started. We've got a little bit of reading, a little bit of learning. But yeah, so thanks for sticking out this long in the video. Like I said, I'm sure this one ended up being long. And because of how all this ended out, I'm going to be trying to put in as much as possible. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thank you guys for watching. See y'all in the next video. Cut.